welcome back to the Critics. This is our third episode. Thank you guys for sticking with us, watching our show, and subscribing. I seen that some of you guys actually did subscribe. Please subscribe. Like we're having like 70 views and like 15 subscribers. So some of you guys are not clicking that subscribe button. Welcome to the and welcomed from policies to power plays. We cut through the noise and put political and philosophical opinions under the microscope. No echo chambers, no blind spots, just honest, critical conversations.
And we want you to be part of the conversation. Again, remember, if you have any big ideas or opinions about capitalism, or you're not in support of what we say, you have counter arguments about our take on this topic, please feel free to drop your comments, share your perspective, get into our DMs, share your opinions. We welcome that. We like to engage sort that in that sort of conversation. And we might just invite you to come on the show. Again, remember, every opinion counts.
All right, so today we're going to be focusing on a big topic that runs our world, runs how we classify money, words, runs what our economy is today. We're going to be talking about the economic system that most of the world is running on now. We're talking about capitalism. So we're going to be talking about what is capitalism, when did capitalism start, like essentially per what we per our research and what we know, and does capitalism favor you? Like who is a capitalist? And what is this system, or who is the system working for?
Well, per Google, capitalism is an economic system characterized by private ownership of means of production, free markets, and competition, where prices are determined by supply and demand. And the primary motive is profit, of course, and economic activity is driven by individual interest.
So I think that capitalism, like the beginning stage of capitalism, really started when the Spain or Portugal at that time sailed to the Americas, to Asia, um, and started colonizing the Hispanolas, and because after that, Columbus came also during the 15th century and start colonizing the Native Americans. And after that, the British got into the game with Africa. That was like 16th century when they went to Africa to get the slaves, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, it's like the British are Americans at that time because they're the same people, just in different locations. And then later on, America went to Africa to like was that 17th
Mhm.
century? Also, was it 17th century?
I think it was. I think
They
it.
went, or 19th century?
No, not no. No, I think it's
Yeah,
17.
17th century. Oh yes, they went to Africa too in the 17th century. Chattel slavery. We're all aware of what happened, and started using this people for economy gain. But the real form of capitalism really started in the 18th century.
Hmm.
Um, Wait, give me a second. No, 17th century, when British, because at that time Britain was the power, like the world power. They well, started to be the word power, let me put it that way. They moved from uh agrarian, is that the
Yeah.
word, to like an industrial um
Hmm.
economy, and that exactly was the beginning of modern day capitalism as we have it today. So basically the society moved from like people having their own farms, a more family like business kind of oriented society, into like this factory based society, into working for like well, now we say company, but like factory back then. And this industrial revolution was also, well, bad working environment, bad pays, kids worked. So basically everything that we are going through right now was what was happening at that time. um and do you have anything to say to that?
I was just gonna have that, when we talk about the growth of capitalism, well, in as we describe it, the introduction of capitalism starting from the industrialization of our society and a community, we cannot take out the part that the world wars played into making them grow sporadically. That's something that we should take into account.
Well, no, definitely, definitely, definitely. And now we're in 2025, and we are still running this economic system that I believe doesn't benefit the average man, because it never did. Like, even from the beginning of, like, we could see it was some sort of exploitation of Native Americans, exploitation of of Africans coming to do the job. During the industrial revolution, it wasn't just black people in the factory, it was also white people that they deemed a common man, that or kids, like even kids would work like 14, 12 hours in his factories for the bosses, and like what capitalism does is that you don't even get to keep the what's the word, the I don't want to use money, but like what, you know, Carl said it best. He was, I think, like his main problem with capitalism is that it's not like you shouldn't work. Like even with socialism or any other economic system, you're working, but whatever you work for is yours. But he said that with capitalism, it's like you're working, but it's not even yours. You don't even get to keep it. Like you're just working for somebody else, and it's like, let's say you have a farm, and back then you have a farm. If you grew oranges, the oranges are yours. Do whatever you want with it. You eat it, you throw it away, you trade it. That is your orange. But now it's like you're on this farm, making this oranges, planting this oranges, but you can't even take those oranges home. You have to give those oranges to somebody else, and then they give you like maybe one out of like 1,000 of the oranges. And so it's not just the fact that the goods are being commodified. Your time and yourself also is being commodified for nothing, essentially.
Mhm. And just something like, just like I mentioned, we have to take into account the roles that the wars played because, again, like you said, it started off as the exploitation of Africans and, other regions of the world by the West. Something that also made it grow again, world wars. And it's because the wars actually forced the government into production of war weapons, and that then stripped people from civilian manufacturing as of that time to becoming this mega companies that would provide or that would provide the need of the government. And when the war was over, that kind of like translated into what we know now as like all these big corporations, the manufacturing, the factories, and all of that. So when we talk about the history again, the history sort of tells you what the goal of this is. The goal of this is profit. And it's to profit not the average man, it's to profit the government or whoever has ties to that.
And the funny thing, like it did say with the definition, like you read, it did say that the primary motive is profit. It's not
Mhm.
humanity. It's not to move the society forward. It is profit, and I like that. Like the definition itself is not lying to you, and it said it's driven by self interest, like individual self interest. It's not for the workers. It's not for you. It's for this 1% and their interests, because even from the history, when they put these people in the factory to work for them, they're probably working what, for the king, for the queen, for like the elites in the society
I
at that
I
time.
I I do not want to make it about just the 1% because right now the average person has been indoctrinated into this economic
But I'm saying
system
like,
and mode of thinking, and everyone is somewhat benefiting or hoping that they benefit from it. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. They think
it's profit
it's the
driven,
idea they
but it's
sell to
not
them
just
though. You know what I'm saying? Like they have these ideas of oh, capitalism drives healthy competition. That's not true. Like people
healthy
will
competition. I mean,
like
for
first of
those
all,
that
why do you want to compete when you could collaborate? Like that's the nonsense they tell like the common man about competition. Whereas I feel like there's a class solidarity with those people at the top. They don't compete. They collaborate, but they'll
before
tell
before
you.
before 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 we get into that topic,
Mm-hmm,
because again, I like to take you from the definition that we got on Google.
mm-hmm.
It says, um, it's characterized by private ownership of means of production. So, which means that a person privatizes something that everyone needs and makes it theirs. I want us to break it down so whoever
Right.
is listening
It,
understands what we're talking about. Of not just of the ownership of the means of production. So if I can get a hold of something quicker than you can, I have the right to privatize it. And it goes forward to saying that now we have our homes privatized, we have our food privatized, we have
transportation is privatized. Electricity is
basic
privatized.
human needs are now privatized as a means of production for profit for a certain
Individual
person, a
profit,
person
by the way.
or corporations. Okay. And then the next part of it says free markets. I would want to really explore what free markets
I could
means.
tell you what free
When they
market.
sell that, and I know, I mean, I want you to explain to the viewers, but I do want to point out something about free markets and the fallacy in that ideology.
Exactly. The phrase there about free
Free
market, this
markets,
free
please.
market, and I was like, a lot of people just say, "Oh, it's free market." I was like, "What is actually? It's a lie. The government does have the lie is that oh with free market the government doesn't really like tell the owner of the company or doesn't tell if you are the owner of the company doesn't really involve themselves in that company. I'm like since when, like since when, like these are the lies. Since when doesn't the government you get taxed, man? Are you kidding me? You guys get taxed. You that are buying the product get taxed. Have you heard of tariff?
it's
Have
not.
you
It's not
heard
even.
of
It's
tariff?
not
Like,
just. It's not.
like, and
And
also,
when
like,
we talk
wait,
about
can I say something real quick? I was like, and no matter how you think the government doesn't like tell the owner what price to put on the goods, that's a lie because to some extent you can't unless it's like maybe an artistic thing and you want to sell it as an artistic thing and say, okay, yeah, this
I mean, there
paper
are
I want to
times
sell it
that
for $1
we've
million.
had.
But
I
I
mean,
don't
when
think
people talk
like
about free
can I
markets,
finish?
there are times that the
Mhm.
government. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not an economist, but I do know a few things about economics. There are price floors and there are price ceilings. And five price floors, when the government steps in and says,
This
the
is the
price of
least you
this
could sell
thing,
this.
yeah, this is the list you can sell this, and this is the highest you can sell this, regardless of demand. There are times that, the government does interfere with that, and they do interfere often than we would like to believe they do,
That's
actually.
what I'm saying.
Um, and when we talk about free markets, people sort of like link it to like free competition. And when we talk about free markets and free competition, I want to pose this question to the average man to say, can you just walk and start a company today? I mean, in paper, yes, but in reality, no,
Reality,
you
yeah.
cannot, because there are barriers of entry. There you need capital, you need credit, there are so many things. So when we talk about free markets and free competition, it's in the books.
and,
In
and and I just want to say that even
it's
with
not
other
so.
forms of of government, people would always compete because creative people would create. Capitalism is not why people are would create things. That's one of the lies, and this free market is also one of the lies. Like the real free market is with socialism, because when I have my farm, I could do whatever I want with what I have. The government doesn't really tell me what to do with my product. That is the real free market. Like right now, they say free market, but I can't just have a farm at the back of my house and be selling eggs to somebody. No, the
Yep, the
government
government
has to
needs got an
know.
FDA, and you have to
Right.
start
Exactly. The government
licenses.
has to be involved in that business and take their tell
Mhm.
me how
And
like with the whole
and
farming thing and the whole GMO thing. Like people can't even plant what they really want to plant anymore. They can't the
right.
seed, they have to get it from the government,
Yep.
right? Well, which is tied to the government, even like because the owners of
From
the
these
seed also.
corporations that have lobbied the government to now be the private owners of seeds and feeds.
And we're here
Like,
talking about
like,
market,
like
free about that
I
market.
would at
You
this
don't even
point.
have
I'm
the
like,
freedom of choice. Like you don't have the freedom of choice to really do what you really want to do. So that itself to me is just a lie that they tell. Like people don't really sit down and think about it. Like, okay, is this actually a free market? Can I really do what I want to really do?
right. And again, I agree. And at this point, I want to point to the viewers that as we speak, we know we can make reference to socialism or communism or whatever. We're not saying that those systems of government, or no, not
System.
not government, but economic systems are the best. We're just picking out one or two things, advantages from those systems to say, in comparison to what we have in capitalism, it's not that great. Capitalism is not that great as it's been projected to us. But again, we so far what we've talked about is actually from the production perspective. If we do go into deep dive into even the daily, you know, effect of capitalism on each and every one of us, the average American, the average person working the earth, it takes a different perspective, because now your time is what you're selling. You're selling your time, you're selling your skill, you know.
And to me, it's like you're selling your time and your skill for what? And that's the point. That's my problem with capitalism. Like every generation sells their time, five. But it's like
Mhm.
but
Right,
the
of
question
course.
with me with capitalism is that all this 60 years you worked for this company, what was the point? Like you couldn't even afford a home. And I I did the research and saw that actually in capitalistic countries there's no free healthcare. There's no free education. There's nothing
There's nothing
free
free.
for
Yeah, there's
you.
nothing free.
In
There's
socialist
more,
countries,
homelessness in them. There's more poverty in them. Poverty in the aspect of not that you can add it, whatever, the way they project African, whatever, but it's more like poverty in the fact that people actually put the work and have nothing to show for it.
do you know that in Cuba there's a higher literacy rate as
Yes,
in
yes,
America?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know that the average
Expectancy.
life expectancy in Cuba
Yep.
is just like America.
Yes.
This is a socialist country, by the way,
Yes.
and education is free.
Yes.
Healthcare
Again,
is free.
because
You know,
because
the word trying to
because
make you feel like this
because
country.
because
Go
why
ahead.
why why you can see this effects is because, again, basic human needs are not privatized.
There you go.
I in the words of Shion Kuti, he would always say, if you look at like your grandfather, your forefathers, not all of them, no matter how poor, illiterate they were farmers, whatever, they had a roof over their head. They
Don't get me
had
started into
their
that. No,
And now with all your education, with everything that you've
you know it goes to the it goes to the
10% down
idea.
payment on a house
Yo,
to
it
pay
goes
to,
to the
to
thing of
pay to
earning a
pay for
living.
the
You know,
next 30 or 50 years
English
now,
is
they're
so funny.
saying.
I wanted to say something. Thank you for bringing that up. Like white people are so funny.
Uh,
They'll make up quotes like earn a living. You that you're living, you have to earn your living from who?
yeah, yeah.
No,
Yep.
like from who? From
Yep.
the person that created you? From who?
Yep.
Like we're
From
supporting
those that
modern day
have
slavery.
privatized your
We're
life.
supporting modern day slavery. If you say you support capitalism, and to me you're not a billionaire, I feel like you're just that stupid. I'm sorry. You're supporting you being a slave because
You know,
wait, can I say something real quick? I like the fact that you brought as African people. Maybe if you're a white person, I could understand why you can support capitalism because they're not a resource people. They have to exploit to get things out. But as Africans, we are a resource. Like we don't need to be capitalistic. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like what did your grandfather work for to build a house, to feed his family, to wear clothes, to get married? Who did he work for? Nobody.
you work for himself.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and, and don't
We're
tell me
having
that they
this
didn't create
conversation
things.
again, not to tear down one economic system over the other. We're having this conversation to say these are conversations we should start having and start thinking of a system that would serve us better. Capitalism again is man-made. It's a man-made system. Socialism is a man-made system. Communism is a man-made system. So all of these are different systems that are made, made by people like you and I. We can start having conversations, start exploring what would benefit us and as a people, as humanity, then create them. The part that annoys me is when actually people make it seem like, oh, this is a system that we just have to take as is. Like it cannot be,
Yeah, they can't
yeah, it
imagine a
cannot,
world without
yeah,
capitalism. I'm like,
yeah,
what? The world have existed before
right,
capitalism long ago. Like a
right.
country to go to space is a socialist country.
Yep,
So when people tell you that BS of, oh, you won't create anything, there won't be
that's
competition,
a
the
lie.
race of space
That's a
started
lie.
because of the
That
USSR.
that's
That is a
that's
lie.
a lie.
I'm a creative head. When you're a creative head, if you want to create something that's in your brain, it will disturb you to create that thing.
It's not even.
That's how
It's
it
not. I
works.
mean, just
Like with
let's go back
Excel, I
into
don't
the
want to hear,
human
oh,
race, like the theory of, like, we were once cavemen, right? Out of necessity, we started
we
like
built
creating
what we had
stuff,
to do.
right? It's not because we're trying to make profit.
Necessity is the mother of invention. If people
Tension,
think that they
right?
need something, they will build it. And you know
They
what?
Yeah,
With socialism, they will actually, oh, sorry, not because capital is about profit. That's why they would build it not for the humanity's sake of it. They'll build it for
right,
profit. Like there's
right.
real estates, right? More homelessness because
Yep,
it's about money.
yep,
There is health, there's hospitals, right? More life expectancy is reducing. Why?
right.
Because it's about money. Not only would they
It's
not
about, yeah.
really treat you if you don't have money, but also they will not even treat you to the point where to cure you because they want you to come back and give them more money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of food, I suppose, with GMO and stuff, but there's more world hunger. Please
Yeah.
make it
Hold
make
on. Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, we talk about this, even take it down to, we have people struggling with mental health just because of the loneliness of the old, capitalism, I would say, has correlations with, like, the old individualistic way we now live, rather than the communal perspective or that we once had as a people. And that's affecting people's mental health. People are going to, and when we talk about GMO, the side effects of GMO, all of that contribute to our health, mental health, all of this just for
And
profit.
I want to say that that according to statistics that I have here, it says that approximately 1 in 3 American adults, so 18 to 34 years, live with their parents.
Yep, yep.
So this new generation can't even afford to rent. They can't afford, not even to yet buy,
I mean, take for
rent
example,
an
I mean, a
apartment,
lot of,
a
in,
studio.
average, you're getting paid from, let's speak in American terms, right? You're getting paid, let's say 60, 70,000. That's good pay. Um, good pay. But you're coming out with student loans, and now you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your water bill, your light bill, your student loan. You have to get yourself, then
Mhm.
hopefully you know how you're prudent with how you spend, but you want to go out and have drinks with your friends. You want to have a car. You're gonna be in debt.
And I want to say this real quick. Whoever controls the land controls you.
Yep.
I'm gonna repeat that again. Whoever controls the land controls you. It doesn't matter how much printed money called money on paper they give you. They, these are the tricks. You sit down somewhere for 8 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, and they give you something that you have to open an app to read numbers, or you have to, you could go to an ATM and cash this paper, and then you think, oh, okay, maybe it was worth my time. It's never going to be worth your time. You know why? Because whatever they're giving you is coming back to them. The house you're going to rent is on their land. The house you're going to buy is on your land. The hospital you're going to go to is on their land. They own the hospital. The clothes you're going to wear, they're the ones you meet there. Like it's a win-win for them, and you're not winning. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're not winning. And that's why in Africa, like from what I've read, they would always give you a piece of land because they know that to be independent in this world, that's what you need. And what do this capitalists do? They go around the world and privatize
Mhm.
these lands. And we could get into how they keep the natives out of that land for by do all sorts of terrorism acts and all what that's going on in Nigeria right now. But we don't even have the time to go into that today. I guess we'd be opening that topic in the next
Mhm.
episode. But do you have anything to say?
I
Because
do.
we're like rounding up.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
do want to mention. Yeah, thanks for that segue into next week's topic. That's a conversation that I would gladly love to have.
Mm-hmm.
But something I do want to mention is, don't just listen to what people tell you or what you're taught. I believe you as an adult, it's essential that you go out, you do your research, and you introspect on what the true the truth of the matter is. People come to you and tell you capitalism is the best. Don't just take a look at what's going on. Who is it benefiting? Is there a better way to run things? And just start exploring that idea. And try to imagine a world that's
And I
different.
want to tell people like socialism doesn't mean you'll not be rich. People have been rich for like time immemorial. Let's put that out there. Okay. Like I think people have a fear, not like they're even rich anyways, but this idea that yeah,
And let me cut you
go
quickly.
ahead.
Let me cut you quickly, just based on the point that you just
Mm-hmm.
made. Do we, if there's no cap, and this is a question that I want to pose to,
Right,
um,
right. I already know what you're gonna say.
if capitalism is not a system that we have right now, do you think you
Mm-hmm.
need a million to feel good?
You
Wait,
wouldn't
wait,
even need a million.
it's just a question. Would you
No,
would you need to be a billionaire or a
no,
millionaire? And no,
no.
it's a question to them, and that maybe that's where you
Right.
start, because maybe you're scared of other systems because you think they're not going to make you a billionaire. But again,
But to me,
what's
like I
the
just want
point of
people
having a billion
to know that
or a million
it doesn't
or a
mean you won't
trillion?
be rich. It just means that you won't be able to claim what belongs to everybody for yourself. So if you're a type
Again,
of
and so people might argue that
exact,
they want to be rich, but my point is,
I'm not saying it does not mean you're not going to be rich. It just means you won't be able to claim what belongs to everybody
I'm
for yourself.
challenging them. I'm challenging our audience that even if
Mm-hmm.
socialism is not going to make you wealthy,
Mm-hmm.
why must you be wealthy
If you already
in
have
a
everything
world
that
that's
you
not
need,
in a
right?
world that is not
And
capitalist?
you know why it doesn't really.
It's a question. Again, you don't have to answer it. It's a question to the audience. Something they should
because
Hunger.
they'll say, oh, because I don't want to be poor, I don't want to suffer, I don't want to not have food.
In a world that is not
Because they don't
capitalist.
understand that in a world that is not capitalist, you will have everything you need. And that's what I'm going to. The reason why people want to be billionaires so bad is out of greed of, oh my God, I need that because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this money tomorrow because of this type of world that we run. But if you're in a world where
We're
everything you
doing the
need,
work for them. We want to engage our
you
audience
know,
to think out of the box. Do the job for them.
well,
All right, wrap it up.
well, we're gonna stop right here for right now. I want to go into what happened in 2008 with the economy, the recession, as to how what was so capitalistic and socialist about that time, and a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about that particular um, recession. And then we're going to also go into how, capitalism exploits today and, keep these lands for themselves so they could keep controlling everybody. The whites, black, it's just like Africans, we get it more. We get the whip more. But so we're going to talk about that next week as well.
And
And
how capitalist influences war around the world.
yeah,
Next. That's a
yeah.
that's what I want to
And I
talk
want
about.
to tell people today that you that support capitalism so much because maybe you have one business idea that you think you could use to exploit people. I want people to know that they keep these numbers really low. There's a reason you think everybody doesn't want to be a billionaire and exploit people because people are mean. People don't care, okay? But they make sure they keep this number low. So what are your chances getting into this that everyone knows that if you lose your job today, you're like 1, 2 months away from being homeless. This is the type of system you guys are supporting. Let's end it there.
Yep.
Bye
Oh, we'll
bye.
speak to you next week. Bye bye.